I used to be so afraid of being alone, and now it's the opposite. I crave for it. This is my last day of being alone on the 70,000 square meters of pure land, and people keep asking me, aren't you afraid of being alone there? And to be honest, I don't understand their question, but it was not always like that. I have a friend coming to me. What makes people think that I should be afraid is probably social conditioning and the fact that I am a woman being here on this big land where everything is so silent except for the river that you can hear now in the background, and possibly some wild animals. There were times when I would be afraid of that, and when I would say, oh, I can't do this. But now I see a big difference between being lonely and being in solitude, and this is a huge opportunity for me to be in solitude. I was raised as a city girl, and ever since I was little, it was always some kind of pressure and rush and people around me, and I was never exposed to solitude, and it felt so scary that I even thought that I am wasting the precious time of my life being alone. And it took me good maybe 45 years of my life when I slowly started discovering the vastness of the possibilities and of the beauty of being alone with myself, with my thoughts, with my feelings, with my imagination, with the way how I am envisioning my future, my dreams, or even just being in my body. I was not raised to learn how to do that, and neither of us is, at least the generation that I speak to, which is now around 45, 50, 50 plus. And I'm also speaking to younger women because it is a beautiful opportunity for everybody to learn how to cherish the universe of ourselves that is inside of us. And only now I understand that loneliness is actually deep disconnection from the self, which I lived for the most of my life. I was being afraid to stay alone with myself because I thought that the purpose of my life is just to be always fed from the outside with the presence of the others, love from the others, stories from the others, sharing time with others, which is completely necessary and fine. But there was a big piece missing, and that was deep connection with myself, which brought solitude as the most beautiful gift that I can experience nowadays. And we can feel so lonely in the crowd among people, and also we can feel so whole being completely alone. And that is the experience of being human, to have all the polarities, all the experiences. But more important is letting go of the fear wherever we can. Because what would fear bring to me if I had fear being here, for example? Sorry, it's becoming so hot. So if I decided to be in fear and staying here alone, I would have the contraction and probably alert state of being the whole time. And it's been 10 days now, actually a little bit longer. I was gifted for extra 3 days, by extra 3 days, which is like a blessing. And now is the last day. Today people are arriving in the afternoon. So that's why I wanted to share this, from this feeling that I have still as a closure of the 10 plus 3 days. I would probably not get out of my room. I would probably sit and think and loop about all the possible things that can happen to me if I chose that way. Instead, I had the most epic time. I have 2 cats that I'm taking care of. Lucky is the little white one that you saw, and Jasper, the guardian of the land, the black cat. He's hunting around probably somewhere. I was making super slow mornings to myself, creating them. It was so important for me to have my morning slow practices of just feeling so grateful to be alive, which was not the case for most of my life. I worked in the corporate world for exactly 20 years of my life, and I was waking up around 6-ish for 20 years to be on time around 8 for work. So who knows, who has this experience knows what I'm talking about. So mornings that I have now are the most important part of my life, my day. And then going into the kitchen, going out of my room and giving food to the cats, and then fruit breakfast and coffee, and then going for a walk, long walks here. The land here is so diverse that every day there is something new to experience. I did work also, but it felt like joy. I was fixing things also, because whoever says that living in nature is romantic, yes, it is. It's true. But especially if you're alone here as a woman for even a short period of time, you should also be a handyman. So yes, there is always something to do here, which also brings abundance to life, because I can do the laundry or clean the house and still feel that I have the spaciousness of just contemplating around life and doing things with presence, awareness, and always trying to be in the now, to really enjoy whatever I'm doing, and choosing things that I'm doing wisely. Some things I couldn't, that I needed to fix, but yeah, that's also life. Life is not about perfection, it's about feeling it and understanding that whatever is now is going to change very soon. So yeah, either cherishing the moment or understanding that it will go away very quickly if it's like a icky feeling or negative feeling. And I also tend to ask myself, okay, what is the message right now, right here, that I have to learn, or why is this happening for a greater good for myself, of myself, if that makes sense. What were the gifts of days spent alone? Well, definitely a nervous system reset. Absolutely. The level of freedom that I'm feeling inside of me, and the ability to openness to make decisions that are only according to what I want right now, is everything. It also brought me clarity and creativity and reconnection to my desires. I feel very activated after this time. Compared to at some point in the past, I would feel depressed and anxious after spending all this time alone. Where now I gained all these gifts and definitely reconnection to my body. And you know, it happened because of something that I very often invite people to ask themselves: if you slow down, can you feel and see and hear and experience the abundance of things that are happening inside of you primarily, and then outside of you? So the art of slowing down is really art, especially for us who are raised and who grew up in cities where we were constantly running somewhere, where there was no pause. And even when we had pause, it felt like something scary. I believe that we are actually not afraid of being alone, but we are afraid of what we are going to hear when everything around us gets quiet. At least that was my experience. This land reminds me again and again that safety doesn't come from the walls, from being inside of the walls, but from the inside. Or maybe you are someone who always felt that wants to get space, and you were told that you were awkward, strange, and it's not allowed. Or maybe people labeled you as distant if you just wanted to spend time in solitude. And no one ever told you that nothing is wrong with you. Instead, being shamed of wanting to be alone. And if you are that person, you're blessed. You already know what to do. So I'm curious, when was the last time that you were alone in solitude, and how did that feel?